We just got finished recording the Patreon episode, NFL Pick'em Week 4. We still got it up here, and if you are not subscribed to the Patreon, that is the only place you can get the full episode. We just recorded an hour and 40-minute podcast, straight NFL picks and predicting the games for this weekend. But since we're in the studio, we decided let's react to Damian Lillard getting traded to the Milwaukee Bucks. This is the trade summary. The Bucks get Damian Lillard. The Blazers get Jrue Holiday, DeAndre, and Toumani Camara, and a 2029 first-round pick. And the Suns get Yusuf Nurkic, Grayson Allen, Nasir Little, and Keon Johnson. What are your thoughts on this deal?
Bucks fleeced?
The Bucks came up. People were having conversations that the Suns came up. They love getting Nurkic, Nasir Little, Grayson Allen. These are great rotational pieces. I'm sorry. DeAndre
Alvaro?
No. Twitter really is feeling good about
one of them
Suns.
said it. I was like,
no, it was Alvaro and Frank both talking about how they're happy about this. DeAndre Ayton's better than Nurkic. And yeah, I saw your tweets. You're not wrong about this. You don't know what version of Ayton you're getting on any given night. That's 100% sound. But Nurkic's unreliable. He's not that same defensive player that he once was. And to me, the Suns, if anything, maybe they got rid of a headache. That might be the best part about it, where he became a little bit too much about him and not about the team down the stretch of their playoff run coming to an end. But in the grand scheme of things, and when in a vacuum, very calmly, DeAndre Ayton's better than Nurkic. What they got was marginal, really. But the takeaway obviously has to be Damian Lillard teams up with Giannis Antetokounmpo. They, in my opinion, easily become the best duo in the East and are arguably the best duo in the entire NBA. The Bucks should be the favorites to come out of the East right now. Dame now fits that system pretty perfectly with me because what they lacked last season was consistent offensive scoring from the backcourt, and he immediately puts them into one of the best offenses with Giannis Antetokounmpo, who by himself averages 30 on. I don't want to be disrespectful here when I say this, but a pretty simple offensive game plan where you get him the ball, he makes something happen by just getting to the rim and just being one of the most dominant. And he's the most dominant player in the NBA, where he's still able to be one of the most effective players in the game. But now there becomes no real scheme to stop them, at least just in theory, with this Milwaukee Bucks. John's going to have a field day, of course. Oh, I told you, Bucks had a great offseason. But you give respect that Middleton does not need to be that number one option down the stretch anymore. That responsibility now goes to Dame. Middleton can just be a high-level role player. You have Giannis. You have Brook Lopez. That's going to be one of the best rim-protecting frontcourts in the association for sure. This team is just got significantly better. And Giannis put pressure on the front office. He said, if you don't get me in a situation that we're competing for championships, if the goal is not to win an NBA championship, I'm seriously considering my time here for the future. And they made the move. They did the adequate thing by catering to Giannis because he's a game-changing player, top 75 all-time kind of guy. You have him leave your building. You have to look yourself in the mirror. And they made the exact move that they needed to make him happy.
Oh, man, you know, Jrue Holiday was one of the worst isolation scorers in the league
76.
And Dame is one of the best. So automatically in the half court,
huge upgrade.
Dame, immediate upgrade. The first reaction, obviously, you mentioned a little bit of it. You paired Dame and Giannis in the pick and roll. Dame is one of the best pick and roll players in the league also. Dame adds more to your half-court offense, which the Bucks are not that good at. Now you bring on Dame, who's somebody who can create, can score for himself, create for others. That's a huge thing. He's an efficient scorer, an elite scorer. In the playoffs, you take that load off of him and Giannis because now they can play off each other. So those are all good things. I think the one only problem is with Jrue Holiday. Of course, he's one of the best on-ball defenders in basketball, so you definitely lose that defensive end. And the Bucks was already naked on that side in the perimeter on the defensive end, so who do you really put on the guys to stop them late in the games? You know, Jrue was tasked with guarding Tatum, Butler, Jaylen Brown, like James Harden, like all the perimeter guys. So who do you do that? The Bucks have to figure that out. Their rotation still seems a bit thin, you know, because we wasn't.
They're just in a campaign.
Yeah, we wasn't. What? Oh, I'm sorry, my fault. They weren't like coming into this year. You know, we were always just questioning like the guys around Giannis. But now you bring in Dame, who was probably 2 or 3 role players, so that's a big thing. I just think for these other teams, Ayton may not be better than Nurkic, but for me, and the Bucks have a new coach, so that's going to be something really interesting to see how that goes. But for me, Frank Vogel, like we talked about before, he's always predicated his defenses off rim protectors. He has a rim protector, then he has a bunch of wing defenders and a POA defender at the guard position. Nurkic hasn't played defense since he shattered his knee, which was 2019, 2018, and Ayton never showed the consistent effort on the defensive end. So now you have Nurkic who's not available consistently, not the same defender. That's going to be tough. I mean, the last time we've seen in the playoffs, the Joker completely annihilated him. Yeah, so that's going to be tough. But as an offensive player, Nurkic is a solid post passer. He's solid in the post. He has a little pop shot, so that's good. Work well in the pick and roll. He knows how to roll well. Great screener. So he does bring some things to this team. In terms of Grayson Allen, good three-point shooter, okay defender, good for spacing just in general next to Kevin Durant, Devin Booker.
Is it 41 catch and shoot? Something
like
that?
I do not know who that other guy is. I'm not even going to sit here and cap like I do, so I'm not going to speak on him. Maybe he can add something. What was it? Tsunami was his name?
Kamara?
Yeah, he's going to Portland.
Oh, so that's even – speaking on Portland, I don't know who he is, so I'm not going to speak.
What's your opinion on
Nasir Little?
No, Portland's return.
They got robbed. I mean, they got 2 picks.
Yeah. But Jrue Holiday
it was 2 pick. Am I wrong? 2 pick swaps and a first.
Yeah, but those are like 20.
Jrue Holiday's going to get moved. They'll probably get another pick or 2.
Yeah, they'll get 1, but those 2 picks are in 2028 and 2029.
Jrue Holiday's worth 2 first-round picks.
Oh, it depends on the team.
It does.
A contending team is giving up 2 firsts.
Yeah.
What contending team has 2 firsts? Outside of Boston.
Yeah,
the Sixers don't have first to give up.
They're a bunch of swaps.
Mm-hmm.
And their picks are late.
Milwaukee?
They're like 2027, 2028.
Right. Miami?
It'll be like 2028, 2029.
It'd be pretty funny if Miami ends up with Jrue Holiday after all this.
No,
hey, Jrue with Miami isn't terrible.
Miami's
that's
in
a great
conversations.
Fit. That's a great fit.
They are. He is a good fit.
They can't be picky no more.
Honestly, a great fit. The Celtics.
Yeah. It would just making the money work. You're likely to have to give up Brogdon and Al Horford unless there's some other creative way that I'm not aware of.
And honestly, the last team we need.
The Clippers. The Clippers and Miami are the best fits for me for Jrue Holiday.
Miami could definitely make that move, and you're giving up less.
Because the Celtics, they're just that point guard away.
I'll probably put them up there too for sure.
The Celtics are a team that should be in the mix. That's an A+ move for the Bucks. You team up Dame and Giannis. It's one of the best duos in the NBA. And Dame changes their entire offense now. I mean, now you have Giannis and Dame who can combine for 60 every single night. Those are 2 30-point-per-game scorers, and you can get the 20 from different areas. Chris Middleton, Brook Lopez chips in. The depth is a concern, especially the backcourt defensively. That's something I'm looking at, and that's why I'm not automatically just pushing the Bucks as championship favorites, because the starting backcourt is Dame, Pat Connaughton, or it's Dame and Malik Beasley. I think it's most likely going to be Pat Connaughton. Ty could be a good backup guard. Well, who knows what he's going to do?
Really killed the G League.
We've been flaming
Ty
Washington.
He was great.
This offseason.
Yeah,
it had to be him.
If Ty actually has a good NBA career, you're going to look back at him.
What do you mean, bro? I just gave him his praise. I said it with a straight face.
The Bucks backcourt is not going to be good defensively. And we talk about needing a defensive stopper in the playoffs all the time. And who's the Bucks defensive stopper on the perimeter? It's not Chris Middleton. It's not going to be Dame. It's not going to be Giannis, and it's not going to be Lopez. So defensively, the Bucks to me are very matchup dependent, because there are some offensive teams that can just light them up because they just don't have the personnel to do it.
A lot of zone.
And then the bench, Bobby Portis is a good depth piece.
Absolutely.
They still have Jay Crowder. He's all right. It's just Dame and Giannis, this pick and roll combination.
He is all right. That's a good word to use.
This pick and roll combination is deadly. I don't know how you stop it.
You don't.
If Giannis hits a screen on Dame, you either got to step up on that Dame screen because he could pull it from 40, or you got to tag Giannis, and now Dame can shoot.
Only Jimmy and Bam could stop this,
and I know y'all saw Giannis working with Hakeem.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
he starts hitting that mid-range. The pick and roll legitimately
he switches on Giannis.
Unstoppable.
It's an unstoppable offensive pairing, and it's just their styles. It just mesh so perfectly.
For sure.
Unlike with Phoenix, they brought in stars, Bradley Beal, KD, and D Book, but you look at the fit, and it's not the best pairing. This pairing, it fits like a glove. It's so great. Why are you laughing, Dehls?
It's so great, just a funny way to put it.
It is so great.
It's dope. I love parody.
It's one of the best duos this game's ever seen, honestly. That's how great it is.
Yeah, it's so great. For me, when it comes to the Suns,
right? Like I'm not bugging.
when it comes to the Suns, I think the Suns got better. I do. DeAndre Ayton was. Is
this Jess talking or you?
This is me talking.
I'm just being a bastard.
Jess hates that they traded Ayton.
Really?
She wanted Ayton.
I agree.
But the thing is that DeAndre Ayton's ceiling is higher than Nurkic's, but the floor is so much lower. The floor is, you're looking at Jock Landale like a starting center in the playoffs because DeAndre Ayton is not fighting for loose balls, for rebounds. What I know Nurkic is going to do, he's going to finish around the rim. He's going to play good defense on centers that aren't Nikola Jokic, and he's going to rebound the hell out of the basketball. He's one of the best rebounders in the NBA. That is needed in the playoffs to close out defensive possessions. And we all talk about the Suns' depth, how they needed to add more players. Well, you took away DeAndre and you replaced him with the starting NBA center, and then you got 2 bench pieces in Grayson Allen, who I think is a quality NBA role player, and Nasir Little, who hasn't shown too much, but in the spurts that he has shown with Portland, he's been solid. Mm-hmm. So now you add depth to this team, even if it's just 2 good role players. You replace Ayton, and there's not that cloud of his contract because Nurkic is making significantly less money than Ayton, and that's going to help them in the long run just managing their cap situation because they're paying Beal, Booker, and KD so much. And Portland, getting a young center to pair up with these young guards, that's perfect. Shaedon Sharpe, Scoot Henderson, Anthony Simons, that's the future of this team. We'll see if they keep Jeremy Grant long term. But ultimately, this is one of those trades that I feel like every team won. Every team got exactly what they were looking for in this deal. The Bucks pair Giannis with a superstar. The Suns replace Ayton and add some depth. And the Blazers go into this full rebuild and add a starting center next to this young core of guys.
I need to see, I'm sorry, before you go, Joel, I need to see the details of the pick swaps, too, for what Portland receives. Just because in terms of draft compensation, I don't love the return. But, of course, we already spoke about it. Once Jrue gets moved, they will get more draft picks in that deal. But as of right now, why I can feel confident with that Portland deal is because now the point guard and the guard situation as a whole kind of gets ironed out. You know it's going to be Scoot and Anthony, and playing that 2 hybrid 3 is going to be
Looks like we was both right, buddy.
Yeah,
they will be starting together.
Yeah.
I build out.
See, you got to. This way, you got to make it something.
Yeah, I mean, you knew Dame was getting moved. I guess to start with Milwaukee, it's a match made in heaven. I mean, I didn't want him to go to Miami, and my second option would not him go to Milwaukee. So I can't say I'm happy about it. But putting my Celtics bias aside, it's a great fit. I mean, especially in the playoffs when you're getting a half-court setting, things get more congested. You have coaches actually scheming for 7 games. Damian Lillard's going to mean a world of difference offensively. The defensive problems, I think, are fair, but when the offensive ceiling is so high with these two, like you mentioned, Joel, they go up for 60 any night. Like that damn near feels like a floor in a lot of playoff games. Dame Lillard and Giannis, in my opinion, probably the best 1-2, best duo in the NBA right now. That's how talented those guys are, and it's a much better fit than what Dame and Jimmy Butler would have been. So you have the fit in terms of talent, and you have the duo, I should say, in terms of fit, that it's both working out. For Portland, they're going towards a rebuild. Once we see the Jrue trade, and it's like, okay, they're going to end up having 3 firsts and 1 or 2 swaps with DeAndre, and now you're looking at like, okay, this feels like a fair deal for Damian Lillard. As it sits now, you have to make salaries work, so Jrue Holiday had to be part of the deal. That's the real reason why he was moved. I'm sure if Milwaukee was up to it, they didn't want to give away their best POA defender.
He was also threatening to retire.
He was at the end of this upcoming contract. And then the Suns, I guess, last part of the trade, I feel like they felt like they needed a floor play in Jusuf Nurkic, right? When you have KD and Devin Booker and Beal, who's like all of these guys, I mean, they're superstars, KD and Booker especially, some of the best players in the league. You don't want to have your big man, you don't want to risk your big man being a complete non-factor and the floor being so low that he's getting played off the floor. So as long as Nurkic is healthy, of course, the ceiling's probably not there, especially like you guys mentioned with his knee injury. He's not the same type of defensive dude at least. But you're hoping that he's able to, like Joel mentioned, do the scrappy things, rebound the ball, and not be a complete zero, which DeAndre Ayton has been for multiple playoffs.
Yeah, I think the scary part for the Suns is
injuries.
Yeah, like Bradley Beal's dealing with some. Book just last season. He's probably the most healthiest out of all of them. But Kevin Durant and Nurkic, those are injury-prone type players.
Who starts at the 3, Okogie or Grayson Allen?
Grayson showed that he can be.
I mean, if you want to maximize your spacing, probably Grayson.
Nurkic shot 36% from 3 on 2 attempts.
I actually just looked it up.
How many, 2 attempts?
2 attempts.
2 attempts again.
Year before that was 40 on 1. So he was.
Oh, so okay.
If he takes a shot, you don't hate it. You probably don't want him to. Yeah,
he actually has a nice form.
Yeah,
he has a nice little form.
No, Ayton's not extending beyond the mid-range.
And the thing about Ayton is that
3 homers.
Ayton doesn't even average a block a game for his career. Ayton is not a rim protector. So when we talk about rim protection, we talk about rebounding, Nurkic has the obvious edge there, and he's more of a movable contract. He's only getting paid $18-19 million a year.
It's just health. That's really the one concern for me. Nurkic
Chris Allen's movable too.
Movable, you said?
Yeah, contract-wise.
Yeah. $8 million. I think he's on a 1 year, though. Yeah, I think he's on a 1 year.
Yeah, but Nurkic's injuries, that's the only reason why if I'm the Suns.
Where is Jrue Holiday going?
All right, if I had to say an early guess.
The Heat have to make a move.
The Heat really are one
desperate.
of the. It's the Heat, it's the Sixers, it's the Celtics, and it's the Clippers.
I don't think the
4
Celtics
teams.
would move Brogdon and a big because they're already naked at that position.
Well, that's Rob, KP, yeah, and then on the bench, that's they are pretty thin. But getting KP,
Drew's
not great.
Nuts. Drew is due like $35 million, so you need
Brogdon
Brogdon and somebody else
next year.
Yeah,
I think he's a player option next year.
See, that's tough, and now you have 2 bigs that are injury prone.
Because that's why I didn't mention Horford because
with
that's
the Clippers, they got a bunch of dudes that half of them don't need to play.
And who? You're saying Rob, Will, and KP?
They could put Powell, Marcus Morris in the deal. That's like 35 right there, and they're like, fine, we're good. Like send them off. Bada boom. Miami, Kyle Lowry's contract, Duncan Robinson. We're like, we're good.
Well, depending how you feel about Walsh, he'll probably play the 4.
Yeah, that's true.
I think Miami, they should be more than willing to give
now they have
Portland
to.
some first-round picks for Jrue Holiday. Like you mentioned, move Duncan Robinson, you move Kyle Lowry. Another scenario is a 3-team deal. The Clippers, the Sixers, and Portland. James Harden goes to the Clippers. Jrue Holiday goes to the Sixers, and the Blazers get some young assets and some picks back. But I think that's the other one in play. If it's not Miami, it's a 3-team deal where Jrue goes to Philadelphia.
Would you be opposed to if you were to trade Horford and Brogdon for Jrue Holiday? Let's say the Celtics went and got Dwight Howard.
God, I don't know about that.
As a bench big, that's not.
He'll have to play eventually.
It hurts losing Al because
right.
he's so great against Embiid, and we're probably going to play them at some point in the
Tristan
playoffs.
Thompson get minutes in the playoffs. Like Dwight Howard can do a better job than Tristan Thompson.
Tristan Thompson got like what 3 minutes?
Yeah, it was like
he still played,
game,
and he was not signed at all.
They're going to need Dwight to get more than that.
He played, and they got him off the court fast.
Yeah.
No, he was kind of productive for
Wasn't
at
that
spurts.
like game like 3 or
Something
4?
like that.
It was like the shit was over.
He had spurts.
Nah, I think they should just keep what they got and just roll with it.
The Celtics are saying.
Yeah,
okay.
Like, just keep their big rotation.
It's just Brogdon also injury prone as well.
Brogdon, they can get two pieces. They may not get Jrue, but they can get something else that can fit a different need for cheaper. I just think Jrue would fit them like a glove. Because he provides.
It would fit them great.
Huh?
It would fit them great.
Dehls was talking and he used the word great like 3 times, and I'm like, I'm gonna let you slide. I'm gonna let you slide, buddy.
What else?
Yeah, you guys
you fucked up your train of thought.
You sure did.
This guy.
My fault.
But yeah, with the Nasir Little's also in Phoenix. He's a good defender. Solid slasher.
He's a Frank Vogel guy.
He is 100%. Yeah, he's a Frank Vogel guy. So Frank Vogel's gonna play him a lot. Might take minutes for your boy Keita Bates.
No, not that boy.
All of a sudden, Keita Bates fell from the 6th man to like the 9th man.
That was the goal. That's what we were. We didn't want that, but now
I'll tell you what, I'm excited for Portland's future. I like that Scoot now gets to,
Shaedon
start
Sharpe,
from
MIP.
day one, and Shaedon Sharpe 100%. And Anthony Simons now gets to be a full-time starter. We've talked about it a ton already.
For sure.
He's been a
backcourt,
dominant scorer when he's had the opportunity to start.
It kind of gets taken away, though, when he's not the lead ball handler.
But I'll say this. Simons probably in Scoot's year 1, Simons still should primarily be the main ball handler.
Eventually.
Simons?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't think you can live with 2 6'3" guards
the
in the backcourt.
Should be Shaedon.
Shaedon will eventually go to the 2.
Because right now, Anthony Simons is on one of the most team-friendly deals that there is. Only signed for $25 million a season for I think the next 3 seasons, if I'm not mistaken. So you trade Anthony Simons, who is a young player, you get a nice return for him.
Yeah. But I think you don't want to.
Because you need wings.
You already had Portland already had that 6'3", 6'4" backcourt, and they saw what they got from him. They want Shaedon at the 2, Scoot at the 1 eventually.
That's
not
a good point.
now.
They play kind of similar.
Yeah, so eventually I still can see Simons getting moved, and they got to move that Jeremy guy.
What are the Blazers getting out of Ayton?
To be honest with you, I would not be surprised if in this year Ayton leads the team in scoring. I wouldn't be surprised.
He'll definitely get a lot of post-up
possessions. He should average
possessions.
20 and 10.
He should. That's exactly
Chauncey's
what
going to
he
use him
should
a lot. He'll get a lot of post-up possessions for sure.
Not many wins, though.
Nah, probably not.
Probably not.
Which
All-star,
is fine.
no.
If you're a Blazers fan, you just traded your
And
arguably
Aiden
your
kind of
best
gets
player.
out of the spotlight too. A little reset because he's been
Sent to
screwing
Portland,
eyes.
you know.
But you don't
Yeah.
have expectations if you're Portland. If you're a fan of Portland, what do you want from this season? You want to see Scoop be the player that you thought that he would
Improvement
be in
from
year
Shaden.
3. Improvement from Shaden Sharp. MIP's of course a stretch, but
We're
you
here.
want to see him drastically improve. Jeremy Grant,
Jabari, bro.
tough.
Jabari
Walker?
Smith.
Oh. I was thinking of the Portland players.
And then, of course, you want to see what Aiden can do in that return, but really, you want this team to be built for the future. You want a good draft pick. That's possible with this team.
That's going to do it for this instant reaction to Damian Lillard getting traded to the Milwaukee Bucks. We're in the studio. We thought we just record this right now. Well, go check out the Patreon Week 4 NFL Pick'em episode. It's only $1 to subscribe to the Patreon.
Limited time, man.
We're feeding you.
It's limited time.
You get an
$1.
extra
We've been
episode.
kind to y'all.
It's 2 hours.
Next Patreon, Dehls wears a do-rag.
There we go. We got to hit a mark like 300 Patreons, something like that. We could do that.
Yeah,
Okay,
300
okay.
Patreons.
We're almost
Dehls
there. What
puts
are we,
on a
like
do-rag.
90 away? No, it's maybe less
50?
than that.
30?
All right, 80 away.
In fact.
We're at 220 Patrons. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.